Welcome to our Devtoberfest session on hybrid development on HANA, SAP HANA Cloud and SAP HANA Platform using SAP Business Application Studio. With me is Jonathan. May you introduce yourself?
I certainly will. Thank you, Volker. My name is Jonathan. I'm with the SAP HANA Cloud Development Organization. And among others, I'm working on the SAP HANA tooling in SAP Business Application Studio. And so I'm excited to show you today some new scenarios that we're supporting there. Looking forward to the demo. Over to you, Volker.
Yeah, thanks. So myself, Volker Saggau, I'm also part of HANA development, and I'm working in the product management group within HANA. And we are really thrilled to show you. Can you go to the next slide?
Certainly can.
So we will come with an overview. We will explain a little bit what Cloud Connector plays here a role. We will see how we set up the workspace so that you can develop on XSA, Extended Services Advanced. We will show some development. We will show deployment. If the time is there, we will also copy and use HANA Cloud for the same code. We will show DBX in BAS, Business Application Studio, and how to access the database. And we show the Database Explorer Classic as well. Next one, please. Yeah, so the overview. Next slide. So this is an additional option, which is extending the services you have today. The business platform, BTP, is offering now Business Application Studio also for SAP HANA Platform, which means you are able to develop parallel to your current existing web IDE or other means you use also with the Business Application Studio in BTP platform. And what the idea behind this is you will have the same tools, you have the same methods and the same results, regardless whether you work with SAP HANA Platform or with SAP HANA Cloud. And it is a good preparation for you as well if you are still on SAP HANA Platform. If in a later stage you want to get your code over to SAP HANA Cloud. This way it is guaranteed that you have the same tooling and most likely also that your code is running on both sides. For this work here, all your data remains on premise. You just have a remote connection to your database, to your development environment, and all the runtime also remains on premise. With that, we go to the next slide. Cloud Connector. Maybe we have a slide here, and we have the left side. You have your on-premise HANA platform running somewhere in your local server environment. You have a Cloud Connector, which is also a service running. It's a Java program, and then you're tunneling to the cloud in BTP. And there we then can, with Business Application Studio, access this connection to the HANA platform as if it would stand within the cloud. So it's a kind of remote access, which is tunneled, secured, and with all the security bells and whistles. So for that, what would we need, Jonathan?
Right. So first thing, obviously, is you have to install the Cloud Connector to your on-premise system, configure it to allow tunneling to certain parts of your HANA platform and access advanced runtime. And once you've configured your Cloud Connector, you also have to create the respective destinations in the SAP Business Technology Platform, for example, via the Business Technology Platform cockpit. And so what this looks like once it's set up correctly, you need 5 destinations for the whole development scenario. One is for the HANA database itself, so you can do deployments to your HANA database. You need a destination for the deploy service in case you want to do MTAR deployments. You need a destination for the HANA Runtime Tools backend to be able to interact with the database and the objects in the database from the graphical editors. You also need access to the runtime itself, so the Access API. Plus, of course, for security reasons, you need to authenticate with Access Advanced, and for that, you also need a destination that allows you to talk to the SAP Access Advanced UAA, the user authentication.
Yeah, normally the screen would be a little bit wider. We cut it off for security reasons because we do not want to expose our ports and machine names, but that's on the right side. Just to give you an orientation here where you kind of find things. So it's on the BTP cockpit on the left side. Once you have installed the Cloud Connector, you will see the destination and the connectivity and the Cloud Connector ports there. So that's a way to get things up. It's described in the help anyhow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a sort of one-time setup step that you have to do per sub-account where Business Application Studio is described. And once you've done this once, then now all developers using that SAP Business Application Studio subscription can start developing on Access Advanced. And how this is done, we'll show in the next step. So maybe I'll hand over back to you, Volker, how to set up the workspace environment.
Yeah, one further. So this is just the standard page here. Oh, we can go into, yeah. So when you, no, it's good. Go ahead. So when you set up your dev space, I typically take the SAP HANA native application, which is all the stuff you have for HANA. And on the right side, you have additional SAP extensions. And there you choose the SAP HANA XS Advanced Tools extension, adding to your HANA project. And then we can really start with the work. And I'm taking control now because Jonathan is doing the presentation. On my side, I will go to my environment. So now this is the Business Application Studio. It's empty. I made everything clear for you. And we start with a new project. And there we go. We are going one of the wizards, and you have these basic templates. And with this template, we take the HANA database project, make it really simple here. We call that dev October. We call the base module DB. We have no namespace, no schema. And here is the first new thing. So we will see here now HANA Platform as well. And since we know that the database is there, we don't have to worry about anything. We just do the next step and binding the HDI container. So this, and we will create the Devtober and where is this ending here? This is where you have your name of your instance, development instance. We say finish, and it will take a few seconds, hope not minutes, that we can see that we are generating the HANA project here on the HDI container in our on-premise database. What is this? We lost the workspace. Maybe we had waited too long. There's our Devtober project. Yes, and there we are. So minor issues here, but we are good to go. So what we have here is now that we can have our project as you have seen it, just normal things. And anything we have to prepare, Jonathan?
No, but maybe you can open the SAP HANA project view, and in this you
Oh,
have a
yes, yes.
logical view of the project. And one thing you can also see, if you expand it, you can see that there's a database connection, and it's bound to the service instance that Volker specified before.
Yeah.
And so with
So,
that, technically, we can also, use the little rocket icon to do our first deployment.
yeah,
Doesn't
so
much
that's
yet, but
it's an empty deployment, but it does. It deploys nothing to the database. Yeah.
here you can see the deployment is running and it finished correctly. So this was the first time directly interacting with the XSA database on premise from Business Application Studio in the cloud. And now I guess, Volker,
So
we can show how to actually add some useful content into this.
yeah. So I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm just using one of the generators we have. So there is a SAP HANA getting started. So with F1, we get SAP HANA getting started, which is a complete project you can build up. And if I open that, I don't have to create the template. We have done that, but I want to have two tables here. So I'm going for table 1. I create this table. This is basically a generator, and it creates the passenger table. So we create the passenger table, and we should see that on the other side now. So let's see. If we press create, there our passenger is appearing. And so we are going for the next one. Create table 2. There are some, I'm too fast here. So create table. So typically create the HTTP table is just the create statement for a table without the create. It also knows and builds up the relation that's called an association. So it knows which other table is related to this table. And we have it here already. And for the sake of time, I'm going directly also to add the data. So for adding the data, we create a particular folder for this. So we create folder and we put that in the base directory here. So there should be a loads table coming up. And then we add some table loader definition. So this file explains the HANA how to load the data which is coming up. And then we add some data to that. So we have a comma separated file. We add to this as a sample, and we take that for the second one, and we separate the values. And passenger we have create flight reservations. So we have the data in, we have the description in, and now it's time. And I just leave the generator here. We can do that manually. We are big boys. So we go again to the deploy here, and all the content we have is now deployed. So we will see it loads 12 records of flight reservations, 6 records of passengers. So we are in the database, and can we see already that we have that in the database, Jonathan?
We certainly should be able to do that. If you go to the Database Explorer perspective in
This
SAP
is
Studio, yeah.
so we try to do that one. This is
And
my Cloud Foundry stuff here. We certainly not want to look into Cloud
but,
Foundry.
but we also have the Access Advanced connections. And then if you open here a SQL console, or you can, just check for the tables.
I'm lazy. I'm a click guy. There
And
are our tables.
the
Cool.
table, if you
So
right
let's
click,
see.
say open data.
So we might close the other windows here. So we can go and close all here. Yeah, and then we shift a little bit. Where is the marker? I cannot find the break line. There it is. Wonderful. So we will see our reservations. Great.
Correct. All right. And so I guess one thing we can do, which HANA is pretty good at, is maybe add some analytics by means of a calculation view.
Oh, that's good. Yep. So we will go again on source here. And again, if you're not so familiar, there is another help here. So you want to create a database artifact. And the wizard here is saying what you want to have. And we just say calculation view. And we will call that whatever, calculation view reservations, for example. So we make it very, very simple. A cube view, nothing spectacular, which will guide us create the file itself, HTTP calculation view, and it will open immediately also the editor for creating a calculation view. So if you don't know what the meanings are here, you can see that up. So we do it very simple on the aggregation. We just take the reservations. So he's looking for calculation views, tables, views, whatever we have here. So we do double star to search. We have a table, and these are our flight reservations. We could also generate a synonym now, but we are going directly on the data itself. So if we double click here, we have a mapping which data should be used in the calculation view. Also very simple drag drop, and you will see he sees some IDs here, some measures. And we will see that in later on where that ends up in our calculation view. And I think with that, we are already done with the calculation view. We don't do too much refinement here. That's task of Jan or someone else in our organization. I just want to use it. So anything missed, Jonathan, on the calc
Nope.
view?
I'd say we're ready to do a deployment again.
Okay, next deployment. Out. Seems we didn't make any errors. Everything is there. So I just clean up everything here, close all, and we don't want to save anything. And we go again to our Database Explorer, and we will go on column views where we see our column view reservations. And if we go here, we can say again, open data. And that will render a SQL statement. Has also the groups by mandant and carrier ID and connection ID and what we have. And it will bring out the results. So what we should certainly change here is we would do a count rather than a sum. It doesn't make any sense to sum up count IDs or reservation IDs or passenger IDs or seat numbers. So we do always a count. We rerun this and get more sensible data here. Obviously, with this small data sets, you don't see any proper distribution here. Sometimes there are two, but at the same time flying on the same flight. But this is for another day. What we wanted to show is you can edit, you can retrieve, you can deploy, and everything what we have done is running inside our HANA on-prem. Can we see that? So we want to build. Next thing we want to do is we want to build an application. Yeah.
Exactly, right. So far we have been just, working locally in Application Studio, making changes, quickly deploying them. But at some point, you probably want to build an application archive from your MTA project and deploy this to your Access Advanced space. And so maybe let's just check if that also works.
So we are going to our MTA file here, multi-target application, and we can build an MTA project here. Take some time. We'll bind all this information into a project.
All right. So MTA building worked.
Yeah,
so
Doggy is a little bit excited. I'm sorry for the background noise. Someone ring the door. So we will have our package here, our MTA archive, and we will see our devtober tar file here. And what we can now do is we can deploy that to our XS Advanced environment. So we are doing that.
Right, as you can see, the upload has already succeeded, and now the MTA deployment inside the XS Advanced runtime on-premise is starting. It's creating all the required services. It's creating the applications. It's running the deployment of the artifacts inside the DB module. And so once this is finished, then we have a fully working application on the XS runtime on-premise. All we did was trigger the deployment from Business Application Studio in the cloud.
So can we verify that on the other side, on the HANA side?
Certainly.
We should see that in our XS cockpit, shouldn't it be there?
Yeah, we can use the XSA cockpit on-premise as usual. Since we're working with XS Advanced, the regular XS Advanced cockpit will work.
So we have to re-log in. It was too long ago that I started this. And you see, I'm really, yeah, you shouldn't see.
Doesn't
Do
matter.
it this way. Yeah, okay. So we see our space here, and now we see our.
And here you can already see the application, and we can see the service instance.
So here's the application, and we can see the service instance.
Right, and the application is stopped. That's the expected state for a database deployment. And since it's already stopped, I would say if you switch back to Business Application Studio, we should see that the deployment has actually finished successfully.
Okay, so go back on the other side. We should see it here. No, we should see it here, shouldn't we?
First of all, in the terminal, we see that the deployment has finished successfully.
Yep.
And then instead of checking in the XSA cockpit like we did right now, we could actually check it directly in Business Application Studio, since we have a small feature here that can also list XS Advanced services and apps. So if you click on that, you can also see that the application here, the DB application is here in the stop state, like we did in the XSA cockpit. So for quick checks, you don't even have to leave Business Application Studio.
So we are good here. And next thing would be, can we go also to the old Database Explorer?
Yep. And we've also built a shortcut for this. If you go back to the Database Explorer view in Business Application Studio, and
hang on, I lost you. Where should I go?
The Database Explorer view.
Database Explorer.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at if you hover over your database connection, you can see.
There we are.
That.
Oh.
As you can see, now it opens this database connection directly in the Database Explorer on-premise that corresponds to your XSA installation. And here you have the full features that the Database Explorer in XS Advanced offers. And so this is a convenient shortcut to jump between Business Application Studio and the XS Advanced tools.
Very nice, very nice. So we have everything done. Can we also... No, I think we should stop that here in the sake of the time. What would we do if we want to have that for cloud? I think we should just copy the project here and then just have another binding to an HDI service in HANA Cloud and then deploy it again. Yeah.
Right. I guess the main thing to take away from this is that this project, while it's developed for Access Advanced, since the same development model also applies to HANA Cloud and the BTP, it should be quite easy to reuse the exact same project and then deploy it to a HANA Cloud instance on BTP without actually changing the project.
Yeah, but for the sake of time, I think we don't do that right now. And with that, I think we would close the session. Let me see on the slides. Maybe can you back to the slides, Jonathan?
I certainly can. All right.
I think, yeah, one further down.
Again.
To the very end. Yeah. Okay. All good.
All right.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that one. That following one. Yes. So, no, that's one too far. Yeah. So we have a new and very modern way to code for HANA Platform Extended Services Advanced Model. So this would allow you to work in a secure manner with your on-premise data. You don't move any data rather than the results you see in the queries, but that you're doing anyhow. So that's not a big thing. We have the same tools. We have extended our tools in Business Application Studio, the Database Explorer there. The old Database Explorer was anyhow capable to do that. We have now a common tool set for both databases and a common code thing. And we will have also support, or we have support for CAP and Fiori and full stack development. So you can take all the latest bells and whistles from our development environments also for XSA development. And with this, I hope you have very soon the possibility to take the code and use the code and give your own trials and let us know how you succeeded with that. So have a nice continuation of your Devtoberfest and hope to see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.